We want to take a minute to thank Shred Claw Apparel for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. Shred Claw Apparel is a brand by guitarists for guitarists. Shred Claw is a one-man shop. They print and ship everything out of their garage in Southern California. So if you need some new shirts, hoodies, or buttons, they got you covered. They feature artwork from super talented artists from all over the world. On stage or in the pit, they've got your back. So go on over to www.shredclaw.com and pick up some sick merch today. And make sure to use our code UnsignedPopPunk20 from now till the end of the year to receive 20% off all apparel. Thank you so much to Shred Claw Apparel for sponsoring this episode. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? A podcast about life in the music industry. Today, we've got skateboarder and recording artist Jordan Griffin on the show. So let's just get right on into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? A podcast about life in the music industry. Today, we've got skateboarder, recording artist, Jordan Griffin on the show. Jordan, welcome to the show, man.
Yo, thank you so much for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
Hell yeah. Stoked to have you. I love watching through your skateboarding vids and stuff. So
Thank you.
hell yeah. I used to, at one point in time, I really wanted to try and learn how to skateboard. And then I tried to just even ollie and I fell. I thought I broke my elbow and I was like, that's it. I'm done. Here's my skateboard.
Yo, I think I did the same thing when I was like 8 years old and I didn't pick up another one until I was 10.
I was like 17.
It happens.
Absolutely. So as you're saying that, since the age of 10, around 8 to 10, you found a love for graphic designing, skateboarding, and music. Let's start with skateboarding since we're there. Tell us about those early days. How'd you get your start?
Yeah, so music and graphic design came later on, but when I was about 10 years old is when I really dove into skating, and it all really came from just playing the Tony Hawk Pro Skater and Tony Hawk Underground games on PlayStation 2. Me and my friend would just kick it every day in the summer. We would play that game, and then one day he went into my garage to get a soda, and he's like, yo, I saw 2 skateboards, we should try this in real life. And I'm like, no, 2 years ago I tried it. It didn't go well. It's a lot harder than a video game. You can't just push a button and do a crazy trick. It actually takes
hell yeah.
skill. And that's something that most people don't have straight out the gate. And nowadays I see all these little kids who are prodigies flipping in and out of handrails at 8 years old. But
I wish
most of the time that's not the case. So I was totally against it. And I'm super against peer pressure.
Sure.
That was the one time I've ever been peer pressured. So he got
look
me
where it got you.
It did get me here, so I can't even be mad. So, yeah, I picked up the skateboard, and it's been a healthy addiction ever since. I've been doing it pretty much every day since then. I mean, obviously, there's days where you get sick or you just can't skate another day because you're sore.
Right.
And then now that I'm a little bit more grown up and I have other hobbies and stuff, I don't do it as often, but still a couple times a week. I'm actually the teacher of a skate camp right now in my local town. So I have 12 to 16 kids I teach a week.
Right on.
And yeah, it's super cool because I'm able to give back to all the new generation of skaters. So that's pretty cool.
Hell yeah. You see any of those skaters you see becoming the next Jordan Griffin?
Oh, the next Jordan. I've never even thought about that. No, it's definitely a cool feeling though, because these kids they love the camp that I host, but they all say I'm the nicest dude ever, and that's good to hear.
Absolutely.
No, it's awesome. So I'm always doing giveaways because back when I was a kid, like I didn't have that like older figure to like give me hand-me-downs and like
Right.
with new boards and stuff like that. So every week I bring a bunch of stuff and I give boards and shirts away to like the hardest working campers.
That's
So
awesome.
it's really cool to give back now and be where I wish I was when I was their age.
Absolutely. You know, that's even like just that whole mindset is why, you know, I started Unsigned Pop Punk, you know, it was
Yeah.
being in a band and never having like anyone give you the support and show you the love that you need. So I was like, well, shit, I care, you know,
Yeah.
I'll show people the love. I got that.
Yeah.
So you were talking about Tony Hawk Pro Skater. So who was your favorite skater to use then?
In Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I don't even remember who was in the game, to be honest.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure Tony Hawk was in it.
Yeah. No, I feel like I was never actually playing as Tony Hawk though. I think maybe
I think there's like Jeff Raleigh, Burnquist.
Bam Margera. I was probably him because he's from
Okay.
Pennsylvania and that's
Sure.
where I'm from.
I think I always was Burnquist. I just always liked him. I thought he was great.
He's sick.
So, because I guess I was wondering, so like since you were, you know, a big fan of the Pro Skater, so did that skater or any of those skaters become your favorite skateboarder outside of the game, or who were you looking up to when you were learning?
That's a good question. So my favorite skate company when I was a kid was Plan B Skateboards.
Okay.
They just had a really stacked team like Ryan Scheckler, Tori Pudwill, Paul Rodriguez, and I loved what they were doing and the content that they were producing. And I would say Paul Rodriguez easily became like my favorite pro skater. Like I still watch videos of him to hype me up. And I think he's like the one person I haven't met yet. So that's on my bucket list.
There you go. So you met Ryan. I think of that, unfortunately, I only really recognize Ryan Scheckler.
Yeah, so I met him and Tori Pudwill. And yeah, I'm just waiting for my P-Rod meet and greet.
Well, you know, we'll hit him up. We'll see if he'll listen to the episode, and then, you know,
That would be sick.
yeah, we'll see what we can do. So I got like a two-parter question here then for you. What is your favorite trick to do, and what is one that you've not mastered but strive to achieve?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think one of my favorite tricks would have to be a cancel flip. And like no one knows what that is. I didn't invent it, but like this is kind of something I got known for, and that's how I started to like build my social media. But like half a kickflip and then you kick it back with your back foot, so it just cancels out.
Yeah, okay. So I actually saw a video like recently where you did do that. So okay, cool.
Yes, so that's probably like one of those tricks that I kind of like coined, but like people probably need credit for that. It doesn't even matter. I'm just having fun. But that's what I really like to do. And one trick that I love, I don't really see people do this one either. It's a pressure flip late shove it.
Okay.
And yo, I could try this trick for hours. It's so complex. Basically, it's going through my legs like this, and then at the peak, I catch it and do a late shove. And then, and I've only done it like 4 or 5 times because it's just a battle every single time. I think the last time I did it was almost a year ago. Like, it's tough.
I just think one of the coolest things about skateboarding is just the fact of like making your brain do that, you know, like knowing how to like place your feet, how to kick the board in order to make it do magic, basically.
Yeah, it's super tough to do. And I think that growing up, I've always been like surrounded by skating and just like creative thinkers. So it really forced me to think a little bit further than just like your basic skateboarding tricks that you see on the day to day. So I always try to take my board and be like, all these people flip their board like this. Let me do it like this, but then stop it here and flip it this other way. I try to make it as complex as possible. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I have a good time doing it.
Hell yeah. Did you ever get into tech decks?
I love Tech Deck. And let me tell you a story. There was a day last year where I checked my Instagram and Tech Deck started following me.
Hell yeah.
And I freaked out. I think I made a story post about it. I had so many people swipe up and they're like, there you go. That's like my childhood dream. So I'm still trying to get something to work out with them. I think our brands align and we could get something going.
That's amazing. I'm no good at it, but I have like a toolbox full of like, you know, the kits and all the extra stuff and like probably like 10 boards in there. Me and my son like to mess around with them.
They're fun.
Terrible at it though.
It's funny because I like back like when I was growing up, like if I ever got injured or if it rained, that's what I would do. And I would help think of tricks on a Tech Deck. And me and my dad, like my dad found out how to like make a mold and we would like make our own fingerboards and we would try to hustle those on like eBay and stuff.
Hell
like
yeah.
Yeah.
It's genius. I'd come up with a Tech Deck show, but it'll have to stay top secret. We'll talk about it later.
Okay, cool.
I've had this like idea in my head for a really long time, actually.
I think that would be so fun, and that's something that no one's doing. And like, you don't even have to be good to like participate in the show. You just have to have fun and try. You know?
Exactly. And like, I just think it would be so funny to do like Tech Deck videos and stuff, just like skate videos. So have a little camera like ride along and stuff.
Yeah.
There's options. There's ideas in there. So with that, and in talking about how like, you know, you have to think creatively when like skateboarding and stuff. Let's move over to your music career, where it's all about creativity. You started releasing music in around 2018, and since then you've released 44 singles and 6 albums. Where do you find the time to not only write that many songs but record them while also skateboarding, studying graphic design, and having a personal life?
It's tough. I'm not gonna lie. It's a bunch of time management, but yeah, that's crazy that you looked into all those stats because I just like make this stuff and put it out. You know, like I don't really like count like that, but no, that's crazy. And like the amount of music I have that I still have to release is also insane. I'm dropping another 20 song album like early next year. I started releasing some singles already.
Yep.
So, and then I have songs after that, like a joint EP with my homie. Like there's a lot of music coming and I don't know where I get the time. And to be honest, I haven't even been recording too much right now. Like I was just recording today, but I've had writer's block for a while.
Okay.
And like after you make a song that like you're so stoked on, you kind of feel like you have to like match that or one up it. And I just couldn't do that with the one I made like at the beginning of April. So I think I finally unlocked the cheat code and I got something going. But really, I would just like, I do everything myself at my house. So that definitely helps because I don't have to drive to a studio, pay for studio time and all that. But there's some pros and cons of that because obviously I'm not like a Grammy award winning producer and engineer, you know? So it's like I have to make producer friends and work with them. And I had to learn how to mix myself. And trust me, in 2018, Jay Griff had no idea what he was doing. I didn't even know mixing was a thing when I first started doing music. I thought people just naturally had like amazing.
Just recorded it and like it was like there.
Yup. That's what I thought. And yeah, I really started making music because one of my sponsors at the time sent me to North Carolina for a skate trip.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys who made like an animated intro to one of my video parts, he made music, and he was like this rapper in North Carolina. So I crashed at his place. I ended up making my first song. I'm like, this is fun. Like, I'm going to buy like a recording setup. And that was like almost 6 years ago now. And I'm like, I'm just going to do one album and then call it. And then it's been another, it's
six
been
albums
another
later.
addiction. Yeah. So I'm always writing and coming up with ideas. And yeah, I think for a while I was kind of basing all my music off of like personal experiences. And now it's just like, I will say it's a lot easier to write good music when you have a lot of emotion, whether you're sad or you're angry. And in the past year and a half, like I met my fiance and all this stuff. So it's like, I've been in the best mind state. And it's also been a little bit harder to write that much good music. I'm still writing good music, but I can't do it in the same way that I used to.
Writing happy music is significantly harder than writing sad songs.
Oh yeah,
significantly harder.
For sure. And then like happy songs that don't sound like overly cheesy and they still have good writing.
Right.
It's tough to do. And
absolutely,
of course, that's like the exact pocket I'm trying to get in right now. So it's a challenge. But
it is. And then it's also hard to like fake it. Like when you're happy and you're in a great place, you can't just fake yourself into a bad place to write a sad song. You're just going to end up with a shitty song.
Yeah. So it's got to be all like authentic feelings. If it's not my point of view, I'm going for like a good friend's point of view or something like that, or something that happened with them that's not even about me. And I've been doing that recently, and I'm getting some pretty good results. I'm happy with it.
Awesome. I think everything I've heard, I've enjoyed. So I think
thank you.
Keep it up. Because you were saying like, you know, you just kind of started learning it. You're no producer and stuff. Blah blah. However, in March, man, you reached your first 1 million streams for your album Nothing Nowhere. Now, for all of our listeners that are musicians, busting ass, working hard to just reach their first 1,000 streams, how does it feel to reach that milestone and get recognized for all your hard work over the years?
That is something that still amazes me to this day, because I remember making the track Sorry Not Sorry. I thought that was the best song in the whole world. I'm like, yo, this is going to take me somewhere, and I don't know where it's going to take me. So that was like my first single in this like new like rebrand. And my goal for the whole album was 100,000 streams. I'm like, I did this like last year, and I think I could do it again, but like my team was changing, and like it's just like me and my friends, but like my friends are constantly changing.
Sure.
And it was just tough. I didn't know how to go about the promotion, especially because now we're in an age of singles where it's like you're expected to drop constant singles.
Right.
I'm like, yo, I'm dropping 6 singles and then I'm adding 14 more songs to this album. Like, I don't know, is that the right way to do it? I'm not sure. But basically, I was talking to my friend Alex, who's now my business partner. We have a little like music marketing company now.
Okay.
So this is when we were like first starting to figure everything out. I guess I'll give a little bit of sauce to the viewers.
Yeah.
Basically, we decided to do the waterfall effect, which is where you drop a single and then your next single, you drop the last single under it.
Right. Yeah.
That definitely helped like accumulate some more streams, and like it helped people not forget about like all the work that you've been putting out that you're super proud of.
Absolutely. That's the way to go now. The waterfall.
Yeah. So that was super helpful. But yeah, so my goal for the whole album was 100,000 streams. And in that first single release, I think Sorry Not Sorry got like 150,000 plays. I'm like, oh my God, like this is already doing better than I wanted the whole album to
The whole
do.
thing. Yeah.
So right there, I think I had something special, but I was constantly going back and like, I think with that album, I wanted to finish every song start to finish before I uploaded one of them. And the way I'm doing my album now is I'm just kind of putting them out as I go, but
Sure.
I make them faster than I put them out. So of course I have a little stockpile I could pick from.
Well, it's always good to have a stockpile.
Yeah. So with Nothing Nowhere, that was kind of crazy. And like TikTok is still newer. So I was trying to like push it on there a lot. And like that got me super down because I'm like, yo, I see all these artists like going crazy on TikTok and like
Right.
I'm putting out 4 videos a day for like 3 weeks and I'm not getting any traction.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of like shook me a little bit because I'm like, yo, like I'm putting in the work. I'm like making these videos every day. I wake up, I want to get this. And then I had to step back and go back to my roots of just posting skate videos for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I would put those songs in like the back. And then I saw some traction with that. And then of course, just like people who genuinely like that newer sound from me. And I feel like word just got around, and that's Nothing Nowhere, just figuring out where I'm going to go from here.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Like that's when I saw that, like that album had hit like just 1 million streams just for that album, I was blown away. That's just such a milestone, you know. It's so huge, especially when, you know, like when you're starting out, you're just hoping for 1,000, maybe 10,000. You're like, please, you know.
Yeah,
and
it's just super sick to know that people enjoy like a whole body of work and they're able to listen through like not only like 3 songs, but I could see the stats and like people would listen to the whole thing before they would go to either my back catalog or listen to someone else. And that's just mind blowing to me because people don't really want to give you the time of day.
No, not anymore. Like not with albums. It's like you hit it on the head earlier when you're talking about singles. Everyone's putting out singles, and so to have people sit there and listen to like your whole album before like moving on, like that's huge, man. That speaks volumes.
Thank you.
So at the time of this interview, you've recently released your latest single, Real One. So you did say that you are working on a new album. This is where that question was already going. So are you planning on adding singles like each month leading up to that album, or what's your plan and for this next album?
Yeah, so I think with this one, I'm highly focused on the marketing, especially since we have our company like up and running and like really getting off the ground. I want to do this the right way and not just like throw out a song a week. And I want to like give a song a little bit to breathe. So whether that's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and just kind of see what I'm doing. And with this album, there's no like real interlocking function with all the songs, if that makes sense. Like I feel like Nothing Nowhere, I tried to make like a fun like rock pop punk album.
Sure.
This one, it has some pop punk songs that are like way better, like really good quality. I'm super stoked on them. And then it has more of like that like pop punk but kind of like trappy feel.
Sure.
And then we just have some songs that just have a guitar and I'm like, I think this would sound good. But yeah, so this album is going to be called Hopeless in Hollywood.
Okay.
And I snapped on the cover art for this one. I'm excited to show you guys.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so with this project, I kind of wanted to also bring music back to how I did it in 2018 and 2019. And in those times, I kind of did this because I needed help. Like I didn't sing back then. Like singing is something newer for me. I only rapped. So
Okay.
it's like I could only really do verses, and I would need a hook from somebody, because like it's hard to do like a rap hook. And I would collaborate
Okay.
with everybody, like a bunch of
Right.
local people, a bunch of people I would just like hit up on Instagram. I'm like, yo, you're sick. We got to work together. And that's what I did in my early stages. And those projects performed really well. And after that, of course, I took the time to learn how to sing. I did a project where I did like, I think it was a 10-song album, and I did like 9 of the hooks. And I was super stoked on that. I felt myself getting more comfortable with music, and I feel like I kind of know what I have to know. And like this project is based around all these stories I heard of people moving out to LA to pursue their dream of music, or whatever they want to do. And they end up going broke, and they got to go back home, and they meet their idols, and they aren't who they say they are. So this album is all kind of based on that concept. It's kind of funny. I've been hearing like quite a bit of songs that are talking about that stuff now, which is kind of funny because I've been planning this for over a year now. So I've been really going in with this album, and I wanted to kind of go Hollywood and get features from like all the people I've looked up to in like the underground scene, and just make music that makes me happy, make music that's like fun to listen to. And I just want to collaborate, because I feel like, first of all, that's the best way to grow, because it's like you want to get seen by people, obviously. So it's like by collaborating, you get put in front of other people's fan bases, which helps.
Absolutely.
But really, it's just like, I just want to make good music, and I want to make friends doing it. I want to make music with these friends like I always did, like so many years ago. And I'm trying to bring that concept back. Like, you don't have to have 3 features per album, you know. There's a ridiculous amount of features on this. Like it's in the 20s, and it's not done yet.
Like doing features is like, it's a really common, and it's a really great idea right now. And I'm seeing a lot of people do that, and I'm even seeing people start doing like split EPs and stuff again, where that, you know, there's 2 bands on the same on CD, they're splitting it. And I've always loved that concept, because if you work with another band, like that's twice the fan base you can now reach. Or if you're doing like a split EP, well, shit, you guys can split the cost, because that stuff's expensive, you know.
Yeah. No, it definitely adds up for sure. And I think that's one thing that music fans often overlook. Like, it does cost a lot to be able to fund an artist's career, whether that's like having a marketing budget behind the singles, or whether that's printing merch or printing actual CDs. And like a lot of stuff is like we try to give out for free because we want people to like take the time to listen.
Right.
It could be tough for sure.
Absolutely. And so earlier you brought up TikTok, and you know, the struggles with that. What do you think is the most important form of social media that artists should be focusing their time on right now?
I mean, obviously, like I've seen TikTok change people's lives.
Yeah.
My good friend Michael Manelli, I watched him go from like 2,000 followers to 200,000 in 4 months. Like, it really worked for him. And like he's friends with like Nick D and Bryce Vine and all those guys who really have TikTok down. So I feel like it's good for me to be around these type of people, just so I could kind of see what they're doing. But I think the most important thing isn't really app specific. It's just being authentic and being genuine. Because I mean, I grew up posting on Instagram. I love Instagram. I love seeing pictures, you know? But it's like every picture I post doesn't have to be an announcement or like something like that. It's like, I just want to live my life and like post what I want to post.
Right.
And I think people like seeing that, because there's very few times that I look for new music on Instagram, you know, like that's what Spotify's for me.
Sure.
But yeah, I think just being authentic. is my main component to like growing and responding to people too. That's big. I see so many people who have like 4,000 followers who have like a good fan base, but they won't respond to anybody.
Right. I think that's so weird. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, isn't that what the whole point is? Like, you posted this for attention, right? Like, you want people to talk to you.
Yeah. So I've always been into like replying to everybody. Yes, it does take time. Yes, it could be annoying, especially when like a post goes viral or something like that.
Mhm.
But it's worth it. It makes you feel good after you're done replying.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who get replied to are like, oh my God, like this is sick.
Yeah,
Like,
because it's so uncommon that somebody replies that just getting a reply from somebody they look up to is huge. I mean, that happens to me still. Like, you know, I'll put like comment on something and they'll comment back and I'm like, holy shit.
yeah. And someone who's really, really good at showing love to their fans is Mod's son. He has it down. Like, he'll just say a green heart. That's all it is. Green heart emoji. And I get so hyped every time I see it.
So funny enough is that so Mod Son's also from Minnesota, which is where we are from.
So,
And so he used to be in a band called Four Letter Lie. He was the drummer. It was like a post-hardcore type, you know, singing, screaming band. And my band, we used to play shows with them. Like they were one of the big like Minneapolis bands, and it's so fucking wild. Like I literally, like, you know, when I saw that he was engaged to Avril Lavigne, I'm like, dude, I know you. Like, I've seen you play drums in front of my face. Like, yeah. That's so wild. It's awesome. It's exciting for him.
oh yeah. And I recently saw him live and he's one of the best performers I've ever seen too. He is so happy to just be there and just be in the moment, see his fans so close. And
yeah, he's a good dude. He was just at we were both at So What Festival, and that was the last time I saw him.
Dope.
But yeah, puts on a great show.
Oh yeah.
He always has, though. He's always been a good performer. I felt anyway. He's always been
definitely in his blood.
Absolutely. And with that, we got one more question before we go on to break. If you could give our listeners one piece of advice that you know now that you wish you knew when you were first starting out, what would it be?
That was an easy one. And this one wasn't clear to me until I entered this music contest that I almost didn't enter. I did my entry like 2 weeks before the deadline, and I just wasn't happy with it. There was something about it that I just didn't like. And I ended up posting it like an hour before the deadline. And then I was in the studio. I swiped down on my notifications. I saw a bunch of trophy emojis, and I ended up winning this contest. And basically, the guy told me, I picked you to win, not only because you did a killer job, but because I see a younger version of myself in you. Growing up, people told me I could only do one thing. I could only pick one path and go down that. And you did the vocals, you skated in the video, you did the engineering, you edited this whole video together. You really did it all. And that's what stood out to me. And that's my advice, is do everything, because people are going to tell you you can't do it, but you can. Like, there's no way you could only do one thing. And if you talk to any successful person, they have multiple streams of income. So if you do multiple things, there's multiple streams of income and you'll be set with time.
Right, exactly. And that it's one of those things to where if you want to do it, and if you want to do something bad enough, well, go learn how to do it, or learn. If you want to sell stuff online and you don't have a website, but you can't pay for a website, well, go learn how to make one.
Yep.
You have YouTube, you have every resource available now to learn how to do what you want to try and do. Try it out.
Exactly.
So that's awesome. I completely agree. And I've seen multiple friends of mine make that same exact or take that same exact path. So keep that up and you'll keep succeeding. And with that, we're going to go on, take a quick break, and we'll be right back. I'd like to take a minute to thank this week's sponsor, Duluth Coffee Company. Duluth Coffee Company holds a special place in my heart. Not only is their coffee amazing, but they're the first local business to not only believe in what we're doing here at Unsigned Pop Punk and the Where Did All My Friends Go podcast, but to sponsor an episode and help us fund this project. Duluth Coffee Company started with one person's love of coffee, roasting it out of his garage and delivering it with his old F-150. Now you can find Duluth Coffee Company anywhere, from online to grocery stores to restaurants and their own cafe and roastery in downtown Duluth, Minnesota. You can shop for all things Duluth Coffee Company at www.duluthcoffeecompany.com. They have everything from their coffee and coffee subscriptions to merch and equipment. And if you're in the Duluth, Minnesota area, stop by the cafe, get some coffee, let them know that Unsigned Pop Punk sent you. Thank you so much again to Duluth Coffee Company for sponsoring this week's episode. And we're back. We got a couple segments left here. We've got the obscure questions segment up next. I chose all of these today. That's typically how I like to do it with obscure. I like to have to think on my feet really quick to think of something just weird and random.
There we go.
So this first one's a two-part question. First off, what would you say are two of your biggest fears?
Two of my biggest fears. Let's see. Stink bugs. I hate stink bugs.
Okay.
And clowns. I do not like clowns either.
Okay. So now the second part of this is, let me see how I want to word this. Okay, so you have to choose between, what would you choose? To have to travel through a room filled with stink bugs or clowns to save your fiance?
I would definitely do the clowns because in theory, if the clowns are doing their job, they should be making like balloon animals and just having a good time, right?
Yeah, that's true. As long as they're not like killer clowns.
Yeah, that's
well,
true.
If they were killer clowns, then stink bugs.
I guess so.
Yeah, I would see. My major fear is like heights, and then just whatever else. It would no matter what, it would just be whatever else, as long as I don't have to do heights.
Got you.
I guess it depends on how high, but the next question is, name a movie or a TV show that you secretly love that no one knows about.
Yo, me and my fiance, we've been watching The Bachelorette, and that gets crazy, not gonna lie.
It does. It's true. And I talked about this on another episode. I do have a different answer for mine, but I have recently answered that my wife watches all that super cringy shit, like those like Netflix dating shows or whatever. It's like or there was one, I can't remember what it was called, but you like, the point of the show is to like couples or married couples or like engaged people or just couples in general come to this show to like swap their partner and just you know, see which one they want to go home with. And first off, that's fucked up, Nick Lachey. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But my wife will watch it, and I will get very invested.
Me too. Yeah, it's tough because it's like I'll be working on graphics and that'll be on in the background. I'm like, what did she just say?
What'd you just say? She's a jerk. I can't stand Vanessa or whatever. We just watched one. I don't remember, but I got very invested, and she was so happy that I was like talking about it, and like I'd get upset about it.
It's funny because I don't really watch too much TV or too many movies.
Mm-hmm.
So my fiance is always trying to get me to just like focus on the art of the chill. And I've been enjoying it. And those shows are so funny because I'm like on my toes in bed. I'm like, whoo, like,
Yeah.
it's the tension is up to here and I feel it outside of the TV.
Absolutely. And those people, half of those people are just monsters.
Yeah.
Just disasters.
Yeah.
So the third and final obscure question, we're going really deep. All right.
boy.
we're gonna dive real deep here. So when you're, just envision yourself. So when you're all alone and crying, and I'm talking like that fucking hard cry, you know, like just that hard cry. Do you ever get up, go find a mirror just to watch yourself cry so that you can cry harder?
You know what? That's a great question. I can't say I've ever looked in a mirror, but I definitely like got to the point where I'm like, okay, well, we made it this far. Like, let's make it worse. And I'll pop in headphones, turn it all the way up, play the saddest music I could find.
He's just finding that, like, you'll find one like word to like repeat. Dane Cook did this like skit, and I think it's the most realistic like skit in general, because I've done it. I know every single person pretty much has done it. You know, it's just, or like there's so many funny things you'll do when you're crying, like just like holding on to like one repeated phrase, like I tried my best, and it just makes you cry harder just repeating it every time.
Yeah.
So that, I was just thinking of that Dane Cook sketch, and I was like, I'm gonna bring this out. I like this one. With that, that's the obscure question segment. You did survive it. I had no doubts.
Thank you. Thank you for believing in me.
Dude, always. I got you. Now we're moving on to the final segment. So rapid fire questions segment. You're just going to speak from the heart, shoot from the hip. It's real simple.
Okay.
All right. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Mario or Luigi?
Ooh, that one's stumping me. I don't know why. Like, I don't have anything for either. I'm gonna go with Luigi because like green's a cool color.
Green's a cool color. He's a ghost hunter, and that's tight.
That's fire.
I mean, Mario just does the same thing over and over again. His girlfriend gets kidnapped. He's got to go save her. Luigi, however, as a ghost hunter, has multiple times had to go save Mario and the princess and everybody else. So realistically, who's cooler?
Luigi. 100%.
Obviously. Gwen Stefani or Hayley Williams?
I don't even know who Hayley Williams is, so I'll go with Gwen Stefani.
Hayley Williams is a singer of Paramore.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the business of misery.
Ooh, okay, I'm going with her actually.
That's fair. Like, both are great. It's kind of generational. Which did you really kind of grow up with for the most part?
And I didn't grow up with either. It's like obviously I know Paramore, but I don't know like individual names of people in bands. I don't know.
That's fair. That's okay. See, I have a hard time, at least nowadays, naming songs. Like, for the life of me, I can't like name a song very well, but I can name so many bands and members of bands. Song titles, not here.
Song titles I'm pretty good with. It's just like band members. I always get them confused. I'm like, this person was in this band, right? And my friends are like, nah, you got it all backwards. I'm like,
nah, dude.
I'm just making music. I don't study.
Yeah, grow up, man. Get out here. Hard shell or soft shell tacos?
soft shell all the way.
It's fair. I like me some soft shell. I also like me some hard shell. I just like tacos in general. I think the best taco creation is like the double decker where you put the hard shell in with the soft shell.
That's a good one. And I also like a chalupa where it's kind of like the hard shell and soft shell, but like pressed like a panini.
Yeah, it's like a fry bread. It's
Yeah.
delicious. Delicious. This is the last one. Sum 41 or yellow card.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I feel like I listen to Sum 41 more, so I'm gonna go with them, but they're both super good.
Totally. They're both super good and they're both completely different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it, man. You did it. You finished the podcast. Now, all that's left is your chance to let everybody know what you got going on, where they can find you. What's next for Jordan Griffin?
Ooh, we got a lot going on. Obviously, we got more music on the way, more skate content on the way, more graphics on the way, all that. Yeah, so if you guys want to stream my music, I go by J Griff, JGRIFF. If you want to find me on any of my socials, they're all at JGriff830. And that's pretty much it. I just want to thank you again for having me on here. I think this might be one of the best like podcast episodes I've ever been on. Like, I think the energy was up here. I felt totally comfortable, totally me the whole time.
Good, man.
Thank you for that.
No, thank you, man. Like that's my goal. I want everybody to be comfortable and I want to have a fun show. And I mean, I don't want to be weird and uncomfortable either. And I already am like weird and uncomfortable as it is. So
no, I can't believe it's already been like an hour. I feel like we've been talking for 5 minutes.
I know. I actually was like checking my phone. I was like, oh shit. We like we went even further past in the very, like the first half. I was like, oh crap, we're going to go long today.
Go.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks so much, man. This has been another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? A podcast about life in the music industry. Today, a little bit about skateboarding. Actually, Jordan, man, you are our first ever skateboarder on this show.
There we go. We made it.
We did it. Look at that.
Did it.
And with that, guys, we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for checking out the show. Please hit that like, subscribe, or follow button so you never miss an episode. And thank you so much to those of you who already are. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or anywhere else you stream your podcasts. If you're in the position to help us grow and like behind the scenes access and exclusive shows, head on over to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/unsignedpoppunk. Let us know in the comments who you'd like to see on the show and what other content you'd like to see. Thank you all so much.